Hey y'all, this is a bit of a slightly impromptu video. However, I thought since I just spent all this time repainting this figure, I might as well showcase it a little bit on my YouTube and explain how I did certain things about it, because I imagine I'm going to get questions. But this is a repaint of the Batman Knightfall Bane, and it comes in the 2-pack with this Batman figure right here. But I really thought this Bane stuck out. But my thing about it is I didn't like the comic effects that were all gone through the black. But as I kept repainting everything on this figure, I just kind of like kept going and going and going and going. And I kept just experimenting with new things I've not really done before. And I really liked how this turned out. I think I really did a really great job on how this Bane looks in comparison to just the default Bane. So I'm going to show some of the details out. I'm going to give it a little bit of a quicker zoom. So, alright, as I bring the Bane quicker, you can see some of the details pop out that really weren't on the original. The original is just one plain skin tone, and I thought it looked fine. But one thing I really wanted to try out is new skin tones, new blends, new ways just to really get the blood look, all the browns and the skin tone in there. And what I have found is that for creases, I take down watered red and I go through every single like crease where blood would flow, just because generally that's where you see it. And then whenever I'm done with that, I take a really thin amount of brown, same water consistency, and if there's some depth, I go in between it just to accent the detail, because you can see that even on your fingers. I mean, this is saying if you were, I don't mean to cuss, if you were white or Asian, you usually have the skin tone. I haven't really done any other races so far of these skin tones to experiment with stuff like that, but I do plan doing that in the future. But for that, I imagine still just darker shade of brown, because you see if you close your finger, you can kind of see like brown hewing for the shadow. So that's what I was trying to aim for, and you can see there's some brown side every single crease. There's more in the depths that are like deeper, just to really accent that, especially in these back areas right here where I put brown all up here, had it watered down just to go through every crack and crease, and I've really liked how that came out. I did purple hewing with red on the bottom because something I've noticed, and maybe I'll have to research condition for it, but a lot of dudes who do steroids tend to have blood flow down to their man boobs to be just as blunt as possible. And I just decided that since Bane is technically on the strongest steroid imaginable, I thought it'd look cool to do that. Now granted, I also, as you can notice, put green in his veins, so I'm not sure how that'd work, if the blood would flow differently, if all his blood's venom. I don't know, the comic kind of goes with that, but granted, I didn't really go for 100% comic accuracy, because when this came out, Bane did not have the glowing green veins, but McFarlane made them so prominent I had to do it. So all I did was water down a neon green mix that I have here, and I used Vallejo paints, which are, sorry, hit the camera real quick, which are these, and I mixed around probably 2/3 this green, hold up, sorry, I have all my paints on my desk, light green Vallejo mixed with 1/3 deep yellow. I do believe that's the color mixture. You can tint it around, and it ended up being this. And I mixed this with water, and water is your friend when it comes to custom projects. Trust me, you really want to have water, just so you can clean your brush or thin paints out, so you can have these looks. And I did that on every single vein on his body that I could really notice, and I tried to really get it kind of subtle and just pop out, and I added gloss on all the veins, so there's just that reflective look to it. Another thing I did was really just hamper down on details in the hands, and it's really notable on the open grip hands I have here, where if it can zoom, it's kind of hard to pick up on the details here, but you can see I have this fingernail right here, well, all these fingernails on here, and I had to paint each and every individual one, and I noticed that blood flows to my tips of my fingers at least, so I tried to get it red up here and all that. And I also put green, if it's notable, see on the knuckle, I put really subtle green flowing out throughout the fingers, just because your fingers, if you look, you have blue veins under them, so I can't really showcase it on here, but they have the veins there, and I also did obviously the glow on the hands as well. But I was really glad with how these fingers came out. They look really nice. I really love doing those subtle little nail details and all that. So I'm happy with that. Another thing I did was I sculpted on here. And I am not good at sculpting. That is my big weakness, I have to be honest. I am not great at it. However, I think I did a good enough job to a point where it's not really too notable. And as you can tell, it's kind of reflective. I made a custom sheen of like a leather boot mix, which is what's on here. This is super matte Mod Podge, but it's just flat. And I thinned it out just so it goes really flat on here. And right here, I made this kind of gloss satiny mix. Pretty sure I mixed half gloss, half satin to get something like this. I could be wrong, but I'm 90% sure that's what I did. And I also painted all those silver rings right here across the boot. Made sure to keep that all flat on the laces because laces aren't glossy and all that. You got to keep the accuracy in there. But yeah, I did all that, and I used that on the gloves as well. And I used a skin tone mix of, hold up, I actually have the skin tone mix here. It is 1/4 matte and 3/4 flat Mod Podge for the skin tone. Because one issue I've always had with my own paint jobs, and this is just something I've noticed with a lot of people, they tend to use matte for like their finish, and it looks fine. I'll like showcase some things I've done with matte, like my Riddler from Arkham Arkham City. I used matte on, and it looks nice. It's just, it's not really realistic. Skin has this sheen to it. It's kind of oily. You can see I have a little bit of reflection in my skin, but it's really flat for the most part. And if you can tell, I've tried to gun for flat on like the clothing materials in a sort of flat matte mix. And you can see how like right there, the light is going a little reflective on it, but it's still a very, very low amount of sheen to it. And I really liked how that came out. So I did that. I painted all the button right here. I did a, what is the exact mix? I used Tamiya Chrome. I have it right here. I don't know if the cover's painted over. I used this, and I repainted the belt right here just to make it a little more shiny and more like consistent, because they just dry brush silver over black for that. I also used chrome on that. I believe this is just Vallejo silver I used from the knuckles, and this right here, they're relatively similar colors. I also used Vallejo silver for the little zipper on his head and the back piece right here. I didn't really paint the actual tubing because that would just be a pain. And for the face, I made a bone white. And as you can tell in the light, hopefully this picks up. Yeah, you can see like a little bit of a gloss to it. I put gloss finish, and I used, this is a new paint I've used. I used Tamiya like as an undercoat. And I used a transparent red to give it a semi-metallic look. This is Cray X. Usually I'd use Tamiya clear red, but I just didn't have the time and I wanted to try it out. So I used this brand. It's alright. It's a lot more colorful. It's a lot more bright than I usually would use, but it turned out fine. And I used a bone white just for around all this white here. I think that turned out pretty good. And that's my main custom job. I just did really thin streaks of black to get the hair. I'm going to experiment with hair more and more, like how to do it on the arms, because sometimes you can see like a blot right there where it's kind of thick, but not the worst thing, not the most notable. And that would be generally it, except one more thing. I managed to put a thigh swivel on here, so now that he can actually move, and this top part, it's just detached, so that's there. I'll show a link in the description to a video on what I learned to do it, because I really, this is a game changer for McFarlane figures, and I do them on most of the ones that I really, really like. But now that's done, I have pictures. I'm going to be doing commissions this month, so check the time it's uploaded just to see generally if I am still doing commissions or blah, 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 but you know, I can work on whatever. And I'm going to show pictures of this. This is just a general showcase of what my Bane repaint. Really like it. I hope you do too. All my social medias will be down in the description. My eBay for my capes will be down in the description. I might be selling some figures out. We'll see. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and have a good day.